It was supposed to be Becky's night, the biggest event of her year. The cameras, the lights, the red carpet, everything had been planned to perfection. Her team had spent weeks preparing for this moment. Her fans were gathered outside the venue with banners and flowers, and the press was already calling it Becky's golden night. But no one, not even Becky herself, could have predicted what was about to happen. As the event began, Becky walked in with her usual grace, smiling, waving, her confidence radiating like the star she was. Reporters shouted her name from every angle, flashes went off in rapid bursts, and fans screamed words of love and pride. She looked every bit the queen she had become, poised, powerful, untouchable. But deep inside, there was a quiet emptiness she had been carrying for months, one that had a name, Freen. It had been weeks since the two were last seen together. Rumors of distance, creative differences, and even emotional fallout had swirled across the internet. Both stayed silent, choosing professionalism over gossip. But silence often speaks louder than words, and fans knew something had changed. Back inside the event hall, Becky took her seat near the stage. The night was filled with performances, speeches, and moments of laughter, but she couldn't shake off a strange feeling, like something was about to happen. Her heart raced, and for a second, she looked toward the entrance. Then it happened. The doors opened, and in walked Freen. The crowd froze. Conversation stopped mid-sentence. Every camera turned in her direction. Wearing a simple but elegant white suit, Freen walked in calmly, her eyes scanning the room until they landed on Becky. The room fell silent, the kind of silence that crackles with emotion. Becky's smile faded for a moment, her eyes widening in disbelief. No one knew Freen would be there, not the event organizers, not the fans, not even Becky's closest friends. It was an unannounced appearance, one that instantly became the center of every whisper in the room. The cameras began clicking again, this time faster than ever. "Is that Freen?" one fan gasped. "What is she doing here?" another whispered. Within seconds, hashtags like hashtag Freen at Becky's event and hashtag Freen Becky reunion began trending online. As Freen approached, every step she took felt heavier, filled with meaning. She had rehearsed what to say 100 times in her head, but now, standing there under the lights, every word seemed to vanish. She stopped a few feet away from Becky, the air between them charged with everything they'd left unsaid. Becky stood up slowly. For a long moment, they just looked at each other, two people with a shared past, standing on opposite sides of pride and emotion. The audience could feel it, the tension, the longing, the unfinished story between them. Then Freen smiled, just slightly, and said softly into the mic she was handed, "I didn't plan to speak tonight, but I couldn't stay away. Some moments, you just have to show up for." The crowd erupted in murmurs. Becky blinked, caught between shock and emotion. She tried to maintain her composure, but her eyes were already glistening. Freen continued, "We've all had times when we drifted apart from people who meant the world to us. But sometimes, showing up is the only way to say you still care." The entire hall went silent again. Becky, visibly moved, stepped forward. Her voice trembled as she said, "I didn't know you were coming." Freen nodded, "I know. I just needed to be here." And in that moment, the tension melted. Becky reached out, and Freen took her hand. The crowd erupted into cheers. Fans stood up from their seats, clapping and shouting both their names. It was a moment of reconciliation that no one had expected, not scripted, not rehearsed, but real. Backstage, staff members were wiping their eyes. Even the event host paused to collect himself before continuing. Social media went wild. Every news outlet began reporting it within minutes. Freen surprises Becky at her major event. Emotional reunion brings audience to tears. Later, during a brief interview, Becky was asked what she felt in that moment. She smiled faintly and said, "It's hard to explain. Sometimes, when someone walks back into your life, you realize they were never really gone." Freen, on her end, remained humble. When asked why she decided to come, she said, "I didn't come for publicity. I came for Becky." There are moments that belong only to the heart. The clip of their reunion went viral within hours. Fans dissected every glance, every smile, every subtle gesture. Some called it the most genuine moment of the year. Others said it was destiny finally catching up to them. Later that night, after the event ended, a few lucky fans saw the two of them leaving quietly through a side exit. No cameras followed, no press intruded, just Freen and Becky walking side by side under the soft city lights, talking like old friends rediscovering something precious. Becky later posted a photo from the event, a candid shot of her and Freen laughing together backstage. The caption was simple, "Some surprises heal what words can't." Freen reposted it, adding only a heart emoji. The internet exploded again. Fans wrote thousands of comments, flooding both their pages with love and excitement. They're back. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. The bond is unbreakable. But what no one knew was that this wasn't just a reunion for the cameras. Sources close to both stars later revealed that Freen had been planning this quietly for weeks. She had been following Becky's event schedule, waiting for the right time to step forward, not for publicity, but for peace. She didn't want a grand announcement, a friend shared. She just wanted Becky to know she still supports her, no matter what. And that gesture, small yet powerful, changed everything. For Becky, it wasn't just a surprise, it was closure and a new beginning all at once. And for Freen, it was a way of saying what she couldn't say before, that despite everything, their connection still mattered. As the night ended and fans replayed the moment over and over online, one truth became clear. Fame, distance, and time could never truly erase the bond between Freen and Becky. Because sometimes love doesn't need grand gestures or perfect timing. It just needs someone brave enough to show up. And Freen did, not as a superstar, but as someone who still cared. The hours after Freen's unexpected appearance felt like a dream that no one wanted to wake up from. The moment she and Becky held hands on stage had already taken over every corner of the internet. Clips flooded social media within minutes, fan accounts replaying it from every possible angle. The looks, the smiles, the unsaid words, it was all there, captured in that one magical reunion. Back at the after-party, things were quieter. The noise of the crowd had faded, replaced by the hum of conversation and the soft music echoing through the room. Becky sat by the window, her gown still shimmering under the dim lights. She had been smiling all evening, but now, away from the cameras, her expression softened, a mix of nostalgia and relief. Then, the door opened. Freen walked in again. No flashing cameras this time, no reporters, just two people finally alone after what felt like an eternity. Becky looked up, surprise flickering in her eyes once more. Freen smiled gently. "I didn't think you'd still be here," she said softly. Becky's voice trembled as she replied, "I wasn't ready to leave." There was a pause, long enough to say everything without words. The kind of silence that feels comfortable, that feels like home. Freen took a deep breath. "I know tonight must have been overwhelming," she began. "I didn't want to take your moment away. I wanted to see you, to remind you that I'm proud of you. Always have been." Becky's eyes glistened. She shook her head slightly, trying to hold back tears. "You didn't take anything away," she said quietly. "You gave it meaning." Freen chuckled softly, her eyes dropping to the floor. "I didn't know if you'd even want to see me again. After everything that's been said." Becky stood and walked closer, stopping just a step away. "Freen," she said, her voice calm but heavy with emotion, "I never stopped wanting to see you. I just didn't know how to bridge the silence between us." The two stood there, inches apart, the air between them charged with the kind of emotion that words could barely hold. For a brief moment, it was as if time stopped, the noise of the world fading into nothing but their quiet breathing and the weight of shared memories. Freen smiled sadly. "You know," she said, "when I saw you on that stage tonight, so confident and glowing, I realized that maybe some distances exist so we can find our way back stronger." Becky reached out and touched Freen's hand gently. "Then maybe," she whispered, "we've both been walking the same road all along, just from different sides." They both laughed, that soft, familiar laugh that once filled every behind-the-scenes moment, every shared interview, every late-night rehearsal. For the first time in months, the heaviness lifted. Later, as they sat together, they reminisced about old times. The days when everything was new, the first photo shoot, their awkward interviews, the way they used to joke before stepping on stage. Becky leaned back, smiling as she said, "It's crazy how far we've come." Freen nodded, her eyes distant but warm. and how much we've learned about fame, about love, about ourselves. Becky turned to her, curiosity shining in her eyes. So, what now? She asked. Freen smiled. Now, we just start again. No pressure, no expectations. Just us as people, not headlines. For a moment, neither of them spoke. They didn't need to. Sometimes, a look says what 1,000 words can't. By the end of the night, Freen walked Becky to her car. As they reached the door, Freen hesitated. I don't know what people will say tomorrow, she said. But for the first time, I don't care. Becky smiled, a soft and genuine one. Then maybe tomorrow will be the start of something new. They hugged, not for the cameras, not for the fans, but for themselves. A quiet, long, healing hug. The next morning, the internet was on fire. News outlets replayed the moment on stage again and again. Entertainment headlines read, Freen and Becky's reunion takes over the internet. Fans called it the most genuine moment of 2025. But it wasn't just the fans who were moved. Several celebrities posted supportive messages on their stories, artists, actors, and even industry veterans praising the authenticity of the moment. One post went viral with the caption, Real connections never fade, no matter how far time takes you. That same day, Becky went live for a short thank you message to fans. Her tone was calm, almost reflective. Last night reminded me of something, she said, that sometimes people come back into your life at the exact moment they're meant to. No sooner, no later. Freen didn't post immediately. She stayed quiet for a few days, letting the storm of attention pass. Then, a single post appeared on her account, a photo of the event stage, empty except for 2 chairs side by side. Her caption read, Some stories don't end. They just take a pause. Fans lost their minds. Comments poured in, they're back. This is the comeback of the year. I'm crying all over again. Behind the scenes, insiders confirmed that Freen and Becky had started reconnecting privately. They weren't rushing anything, but they were rebuilding trust, slowly, quietly, and with genuine care. And while the media continued to speculate about collaborations, projects, and what their future might hold, those who truly knew them said something far simpler. That what mattered most wasn't the spotlight, but the peace they found in finally being on the same page again. Weeks later, Freen and Becky were spotted together again, this time at a small cafe in Bangkok. No praise, no glam, just 2 people laughing over coffee. Fans who saw them said the energy was different, lighter, freer, real. In the end, Freen's surprise appearance wasn't just a reunion. It was a reminder that in a world obsessed with image and perfection, sincerity still shines the brightest. Sometimes love, in all its forms, doesn't need to be loud. It just needs to be true. And as one fan beautifully commented under their latest photo together, they didn't need to announce it. We could feel it.